Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe. Hey, what's up, Joe?
Coop, how you doing, brother?
Good. Any plans this weekend?
Well, it's Friday, so you know that we are recording the Coop Tank like we always do. Later on, I think I'm going to a game night with some friends. Tomorrow, I'm actually going snow tubing, which I know is a strange thing to do maybe in March, but it's supposed to rain or possibly snow, so we'll see how it goes.
Cool. So why don't you tell me a little more about SuiteRecording?
SuiteRecording, we are a podcast and a content studio. We're based here in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and we love to help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasting and YouTube to generate quality content for their marketing, for their business. And so we can help you to get started. We can help you with everything from planning all the way through to production and publication. So if you're interested in learning more, you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right. We have a really good panel today. It's someone I've known for a while, someone I just recently met, and someone I've known sort of like in the middle. And I think the person in the middle is Fernando Torres from OnTarget Media Group. How you doing today, Fernando?
I'm doing really well, Steve. Thanks for having us on.
All right. And then we have from Maximus. I like saying that. Maximus Mortgage Advisors. We have George Kemble. How you doing, George?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks for having me today.
And then I met her at a Chamber of Commerce event like 6 years ago. I was new into the business, and she joined the chamber. I never rejoined. But from Ashley Assists, it's Ashley Owens. How you doing, Ashley?
How you doing, Coop? So glad to be here.
Good. So, Fernando, tell us a little about what you do. Tell us about OnTarget Media.
So I started OnTarget Media Group 10 years ago. We're just a marketing agency. We specialize in digital. We make websites. We do Google search marketing, get you up on social media with great content for your business. We just like to market businesses, tell their story, and help them out.
Okay, how about you, George? What's up with Maximus?
Maximus Mortgage is kind of like a boutique mortgage lender here in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And there's lots of mortgage companies around, but we try to be the best by being a little bit different. We're part mortgage company, part marketing company as well. And our clients, really enjoy working with us because we're doing things that are different, outside of the box. And it's a pleasure to work here and be part of this every day.
How about you, Ashley? Tell us a little about Ashley Assists and what you're up to.
The company, Ashley Assists, I'm a networking concierge, which means I network so you don't have to. I go to events on behalf of my clients, make sure that they are networking with the right people. So it's very boots on the ground. I'm also a professor at Temple University. I teach personal branding and the president of PIMCon, which is the Personal Injury Mastermind Conference. So no, I don't sleep, and coffee is an IV in my body every day.
We're going to stay with you, Ashley. Tell me. I love stories, and we all have our own stories. And tell me how you ended up where you are now, because I know I've known you, but you've always been with Ashley Assists. But then you moved. But tell me how you are doing what you're doing. What was your path to getting to where you are?
Absolutely. So 7 years ago, started the company because I saw that there was a need of people needing to learn. They knew how to network. They just needed an extra buddy at these events. And so I got hired to do a bunch of conferences. And last year, I moved from Philadelphia to Virginia, and then Virginia to New Jersey. Good morning. To Texas. And the goal is that I was, taking the company global or, national. And so I got hired to work for a company called Rankings. And Rankings asked me to attend events on their behalf. And they asked me to attend one event. And then after the first event, they're like, we really like what you did. Can you attend 2 events? I said, sure. So I attended the second event. And at the time I was working for a tech company that did, they did widgets for networking. So I was always working under the networking umbrella. It was always something around that. So I was getting hired for that experience. And so at the time they said, hey, we want you to do these events. I said, sure. And then he goes, okay, do you want to do 20 events? I said, yes, I do. And so basically Rankings hired me to attend 20 conferences that specialize in working with personal injury attorneys. And so from there, after 4 months, I got asked to come on full time with benefits to literally do Ashley Assists for them. And so since then, they've updated me or upgraded me. I say upgrade because I'm still in the tech field. They have promoted me to the director of attorney relations. And then a few months later, they asked me to be president of their first inaugural conference. And that's happening in September of 2024. So I'm in the thick of that. I still coach clients. I still, outside obviously of that arena, But I teach at Temple. And so the story is that the first, the reason why my life changed in 2023 was because my very first client ever, 8 years ago, introduced me to Chris. And so that's kind of the full story there.
Cool. How about you, Fernando? Tell us about how you got to where you are with OnTarget.
So I went to Drexel, majored in marketing, and after that, just kind of trying to figure out where my place would be in this world. And I had some amazing jobs working for amazing sales organizations of one sort or another, selling one type of marketing. I sold yellow pages. I did online sales for different companies, and have always had the pleasure of learning from some really amazing people. And then over the years, it just kind of got to the point where I thought I would like to do it differently than everywhere else I've ever been. And there were like a subset of things that I just wanted to change and be a little more flexible. And I started OnTarget Media Group. I took it full time about 8 years ago now. In the beginning, it was just kind of a side hustle. And here I am sitting here talking to you. We have a roster of clients, most of which have been with us for years. We do their SEO, we make their websites, we get them up on social media, we help with their branding. So it's just depending on the client and the needs that they have, we'd like to build out custom marketing plans for them and follow with them and help them and strategize and just help them grow their business. So that's really kind of how it's evolved over the years.
Cool. How about you, George? How are you? Where are you? You're at Maximus. How did you get there?
Well, I had worked at a few local companies within the past 29 years of being in the mortgage industry. And what I always found important to me, and I found a value to my clients, was working for companies that are actually based out of an area where not only where I live, but where I'm doing business. And EMM, which is our parent company, is located right in Cherry Hill, and Maximus is a DBA of that company. So our organization basically came here a few months back, and we love working for EMM and the company they give us. They basically take care of all of our needs internally and make sure that our clients have a wonderful experience. Because again, after all, there's lots of mortgage companies in our area, but how many actually are located here in people's backyards and cater to making sure that the experience is one that's memorable for all the right reasons. So that's one of the greatest parts about it. What's important to me is making sure that we are customer focused, client focused, and experience focused on every transaction we do. And it's just been a joy since we've come aboard. They've been more than accommodating, and I just recently got promoted to sales manager of the team. So I'm blessed to have some great people to not only help and coach, but to see grow along with me.
And you're the only mortgage guy I know who looks like the singer Howard Jones. So I'm going to say so. I'm just going to say that. So 2023, we're a weird time. We're transitioning out of COVID and all that. What's one obstacle that you had in 2023 that you overcame? And we'll start with you, Fernando. What's an obstacle in 2023 that you went, holy crap, this is going to be something, and you overcame it, and it makes you feel good inside?
So coming out of COVID, we lost a big piece of our business. A lot of the businesses we were doing business with closed or just had to pivot in a different direction, and marketing was the last thing they want to spend their money on. So we had to figure out, who did really well in that situation, and moving forward, who's kind of recession proof, who can grow and did really well during the pandemic. So we looked at a bunch of businesses we had done business with, and last year we put together a plan to go after a very specific segment of type of business and have implemented a strategy. I hired a couple people onto the team to help work through that, and we've grown exponentially since then. So that was like the big piece in 23, where we had to figure out moving forward, how can we grow sales? How can we put out, a better end product for the client? Because really, if you're not doing the right thing for the client, they're not going to stay. So it was really about that. And that's what we did in 2023.
How about you, George?
Well, with the pandemic, what we found was obviously our interest rates were artificially being held down, by the Fed. And, people were in an environment where 2 and 3 and 4% interest rates were the norm. Coming into 2023, what happened? Rates shot up over 6 to 8% within 2 months. And we were just overwhelmed and, didn't know exactly, the sky was falling on us. And so we had to regroup and kind of refocus and say, all right, refinances aren't the way that we're going to be able to manage our business from this point. So how can we focus on purchase business and be better partners for our realtors? So the Maximus Group, just embraced partnering up with real estate agents locally and trying to help them to build their brand so that they could, still do the business that they want to do, listing homes, but, working with home buyers who are still in the market. And by the way, right now, the greatest part about our market is that 2 out of every 3 home buyers are first-time home buyers. So even though those folks that, might have been in a house where maybe they wanted to move or they didn't really like, their surroundings, or they're sitting pretty on 2 and 3 and 4% rates, so they're not in a hurry to move. So it allowed an opportunity for the first-time buyer to enter the market in a time that is a little less competitive. And even though the inventory levels are small, they're getting their shot at buying their first home. And with many first-time homebuyer grant programs out there, we're helping those people to open those doors.
Okay. Now, how about you, Ash? What's something in 2023? Because since I've known you, you've had a lot of shit going on, And so what was something an obstacle that you overcame in 2023 that you're happy? You're like, wow, I did that.
Divorce, and I got new hair.
Well, there you go. I got married and I lost my hair, so it's all good.
Listen, it just depends on what your glow up looks like. I look fabulous now. I don't know if you guys remember, I was a blonde. I was going through some stuff at the time. No, I joke about that because, as you come out of the pandemic, my job was to go to events. That was my job. That was gone, right? So I had to learn how to teach people how to network effectively online, which really built up a huge LinkedIn strategy. So, all of it worked out really, really well. So the way that the pandemic happened, it also allowed me to slow down because very much to your point, I was doing everything to survive. I was doing as much as I possibly could, and I wouldn't say no to things. I think in 2023, when Chris Dreyer from Rankings reached out and said, hey, we have this event, the events are coming back, we really need you to come. I threw everything into that because one, it gave me so much joy, but 2, I had a lot to prove to myself and to everyone that I had worked with and worked for, is that I could adapt with the changes of how people communicated. And so I did a lot of research. I did a lot of trial and error. When we were on Zoom the whole time, it was like, well, then how do you, break the ice? I'm like, nobody wants to break the ice anymore. They want to be on the call to get something. They want to be in the call to just have an semblance of human interaction, or they need some kind of tactical takeaway that they're going to use the next day. So I was reading all these articles and I was testing some of these theories, and half of them didn't work. Truly just did not work. And so I think the biggest obstacle I overcame was learning how to adapt to for the first time, I was alone for the first time in a decade by myself during a pandemic in West Philadelphia. So that was learning how to be better with the noise in my own head. And then from there, being able to transfer that into how can I educate my clients how to communicate effectively without them losing their minds, right? So when Chris Dreyer reached out to me and said, hey, I want you to come in, the man gave me the most amount of freedom I've ever had with any employer. So what I learned from that was I need to trust myself. I needed to recognize that I'm very good at what I do, and that the right people will find me, or they will hire me. As long as I continue to do well by every single person I meet, that comes back, and 2023 changed my entire life. I now have a 4-bedroom house. I'm in Texas, right? Like I'm not rent the house. Let's be real. Like girls not running in, gold coins anywhere, but my life is significantly better because I surrounded myself with the right opportunities and the right people. And I learned how to say no.
And see, it's funny, you got divorced during the pandemic. I got married 6 months before the pandemic, and then we were in
Ah,
lockdown. So I was
you
like,
all
holy
right?
shit. Every time I turned around, she was there. But we had been together, and she had moved to LA with me, and we had been together. But I was like, it was so weird. We're sitting there one night, and we're having dinner at this Mexican place in Haddonfield. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what the hell? So the next day I meet my friends for St. Patty's Day, and then boom, we're in lockdown. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I
So,
remember.
but everyone's got through it. So, okay. So we know obstacles you overcame in 2023. George, I'm going to start with you. What's a goal? And it can be personal or professional. What's a goal you have for 2024? Because we're in March now. We're 2 months in. So you really got to start focusing on your goals. Everyone usually puts their goals up and then they don't get to them till March anyway. At least I don't. But what is a personal or professional goal you're working on right now?
Great question, Steve. Actually, my personal goals are my professional goals, because if I can obtain those professional goals, then that'll help me to obtain my personal goals too. I want to build this team. This is a relatively small independent mortgage company that I work for right now, and we've got a team of about 5 loan officers and a few support folks as well. That to me, we want to get out there and build upon. So my goal this year is to hire a few more support people that can help loan officers that like to be out and about and meeting with people and doing networking events and things like that. They can be the brains behind the scenes and allow those folks to be out doing their sales job. And then, when business rolls in, we all tackle it together. So my goal is to hire at least 3 or 4 new salespeople by the end of this year that are not just bodies off the street. Anybody can hire a loan officer right now that's looking for a few more dollars or a few more programs or lower rates. But what I'm looking for is a quality, loan officer with a following of people that really respect and understand that that person brings good, you know, ethical business to the book. And I want to, follow all over that person's business and about their pipeline and help them and support them and build them up even higher, because I see rates coming down in 2025 to the point where we're going to get busy again. And I want to make sure that we've got a core group of folks ready to tackle it.
Okay. How about you, Ashley? What's a goal, personal or professional? Because you've gone through a lot in the last few years. So
Sure.
what is a goal that you have in 2024 that you really want to accomplish?
I want to give myself some time to decompress, meaning throughout the day, my brain is going in about 3 different directions based off of whatever I'm doing at the time, right? So whether it's PimCon, whether it's, being a professor or even my own business, the reason why I can do a lot is because I have ADHD. That's a superpower, right? So taking care of myself, being more mindful about when my burnouts are, being more mindful of how to take care of my body. I do eye cryo now every weekend, which is the IV, like the vitamin IV, and I make it a wellness day. And let me tell you, man, like that, like getting B12 vitamins every couple weeks is actually wonderful, wonderful. I've got a sauna in my again, it's $200 on Amazon, but like a sauna in my garage that I sit in every couple days, so it helps me fall asleep. I'm monitoring my health better. I'm losing weight, so it's the big goal for me is that my brain has been so good to me as far as my business, my motivation, my confidence and everything, but my body wasn't lining up. So this whole year is really making sure that the way that I feel and the way that I act align similarly. So biggest thing is getting my body back in shape because everything follows from that.
Okay. How about you, Fernando? What's a goal, personal or professional, you have?
I mean, business wise, we're looking to hire more for the team. I just literally brought on 3 people in the past week. I just want to be able to do better work for our clients. That's the number one goal. And by doing that, we'll be able to scale throughout the year, and we have targets that we want to hit. Personal goals are I want to be more present with my family and spend more time with my kids and take my wife out on dates. And I'm doing a better job taking care of my personal health, my spiritual health, and my mental health. So that way I can be the best I can for the people in my life, like my kids and stuff like that, my wife, and be present, not have the phone out while I'm with them, and be more engaged in conversation, whether it's with my kids right now or, out with friends, it really is about being present. So those are the two things I'm really being aware of this year moving forward.
Fernando, we have a rule in the house that no phones after 8, and we have a mandatory date night every week. Like there is, it's honestly, I thought it was like, who has time for it? But it's so like we put our phone, it's just when you implement just rules that you both want to follow by, like it's almost fun to see, okay, you got 5 minutes before I throw this across the room. Right. So it gives you the deadline, and that helps a lot. So mandatory date night, we have a wellness day, we go to iCrowd, we do like the reason why I'm saying that is because coming from the East Coast and being in Philly, being in New York, being in New Jersey, like you're go, 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 go. It wasn't until I had a partner that was like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do these things, and implementing those kind of rules actually helped achieve them, because weren't just goals that you can, waffle on, but they were rules a part of the house. So
and we watch Jeopardy every night at 7. That's one thing we always make sure, me and my wife, we eat dinner, we watch Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And so, okay, looking back, high school, college, whatever, younger, who was a teacher that meant something to you? I had a teacher at Cherry Hill East, my senior year. His name was Dr. Dwyer, and he had like a gray beatnik haircut and glasses, and he wore a turtleneck. And I remember I wrote a paper. It was a how to give paper, and I wrote how to give a wedgie. And if you don't know the wedgie, and he sat there, and he didn't sit there and judge me. He said, "This is really funny, Steve. Keep it up." And so it meant a lot to me, because I ended up had a career in comedy, because it said, okay, well, I can be funny. But who's a teacher? And we'll start with you, George. Who's a teacher that's made an impact on you, if you can say, looking back, or it could be someone after, maybe a mentor. But who's someone who's made an impact on you?
Well, in high school, I had a computer lab teacher. Her name was Mrs. Ruberton. Her husband actually was the principal of Edgewood High School, where I went and grew up. And Mrs. Ruberton was the teacher of our computer class. And at the time, that was my life and my passion, just as it is my son's today. I really enjoyed, programming and learning different languages, and putting the computer to use in ways that wasn't just, video games. And when she recognized that I guess I excelled at the course curriculum, and she basically had other students start to pair up with me, and I was basically her teacher's aide. And I never forgot how important it made me feel that somebody recognized that I had a talent beyond what other people had, but that I could also provide value to those people as well. And I think that was the very beginning of me becoming the person that I am today, which is I'm a man who puts all others before myself. And I find myself doing it every day. And that's probably one of the reasons why I got promoted here is, I look at everybody else and I find ways of being able to help them be a little bit better every day. And, I think I can literally trace it back to Mrs. Ruberton, and the way that she, acknowledged me, mentored me personally, and made me feel like I made a difference in other people's lives too. And I'll never forget it.
Okay, how about you, Fernando? Who's someone?
My mom. My mom was a woman that was ahead of her time. I mean, she's 93 years old right now. She just stopped driving a couple of years ago. She was a OBGYN when women weren't doctors, right? When she went to medical school, she was the only woman in her entire class. She was just a trailblazer her whole life. And growing up, she always believed in me and pushed me. But I feel like I've been very lucky in life. Like, my wife is someone who inspires me and helps me, talks to me. She's tough with me. Like, if I speak out of saying the wrong thing or whatever, she'll make sure she keeps me in check, and I love that about her. And then, I'm really fortunate to have a network of friends who are amazing people, who are out doing amazing things for the community, and they inspire me. So I've really been lucky with mentors my entire life.
Isn't it funny how you said about your mom being the OBGYN? My mom graduated at Temple University, and she's 9. My mom graduated in 1950.
Yeah.
she was the only woman in her marketing classes. And in fact, when she got an interview, she had a job interview when she was a junior with Campbell Soup and to get out, when she gets out. And she took her wedding ring, her engagement ring off because back then men who hired women would think, oh, we're going to hire you for a year and you're going to have kids. And my mom waited. I mean, I think people think my dad was shooting blanks or something because he was like, they waited for a while to have kids, but she wanted her career. And it's just funny that your mom did the same thing. And it does mean a lot. Now, how about you, Ashley? Who's a mentor or a teacher or someone that meant something to you?
So there's two people. Teachers, they were great growing up, but the two that really stick out in my head are mentors that I met after when I started the business. So the first one is Mark Sandler. And Mark Sandler was the sales rep for he was a sales trainer for a company I worked for at the time, but we just meshed really well together, and he sparked the concierge aspect of my business. I watched him, how he paid attention to detail, how he would think for people, and he would know what they needed before they needed it. And so what I observed with Mark and how he coached and trained, he really was super kind, always lending a hand, always reaching out and saying like, how can I support you? But he also did it by example. And so I learn mostly by example. If I see you doing something and I really like that, I'll ask questions, but I will watch your mannerisms, how you engage, and then be able to deduce it myself. And I owe him a lot because he really encouraged me. The other one is Chris Joyce, and Chris Joyce is somebody I met on LinkedIn, but he is the kind of person that will call me, and he's my shark, right? He's the person in your life that will call you and force you to be better, even though you're at the top of the world. And so Chris sent me over. I got to find it. Yeah. One day I was probably at my lowest. I had not lowest, but I just moved to Dallas, and I was getting my footing because I had moved 3 times in 2 years. And so I was trying to kind of feel more like at home and feel more myself. And then I got something in the mail, and he sends me a letter that says, remember who you fucking are. And he gave me this, I am enough coin and a never give up coin. And as cheesy as it is, because like both of these are mantras you see on Instagram, I keep the gold coin in my hand all the time just because it's just, I like to fidget, but it reminds me of Chris, and it's like, ooh, I don't want to mess up today because I don't want to disappoint Chris. And sometimes those are the best lessons, is that you won't do as much as you can for yourself sometimes, but you will do it to appease or to be better for somebody else. And that's my motivation. Like, Chris would never tell me that I disappoint him, but all I want to do is make him proud. And so both of these men have been incredibly kind, very just they lead by example, and I don't ever feel threatened by them in a world where you can be threatened by men. And so it's a really nice those two men are very, very wonderful mentors. I gotta give them a call today now that I think about it. So
See that?
catch up. Yep.
There you go. So we'll stay with you, Ash. What's a characteristic that you have that you find is very important for your success in what you do? Like for me, mine's humor. I make people laugh. I love making people laugh. But I don't go out of my way. I always say when you go to the event and some guy goes, oh yeah, I'm pretty funny. You go, no, you're not. Shut up. I had someone say
when
to me,
they tell you that you're fun, that they're funny, like, I'm the best connector in the world. No, you're not, Chad.
Awesome. I had someone say to me, Ben, oh, I heard you do comedy. And I didn't tell people in the beginning. And I go, yeah, I did for a long time. And he's like, oh, I've done comedy before. Oh, I did an open mic. I'm like, you didn't do comedy. So that's like one open mic. That's like, saying you're a wine corner, you're a sommelier if you drink one glass of wine.
Right.
What is a characteristic that you find that's very important to you that you want to share with people?
I'm not going to say I'm not boosting my ego here. There's two different contexts, right? Because we're kind of different people when we're doing something that we love and then working with the client, right? There's 2 different kinds of things. So one, I'm not afraid to get embarrassed. In fact, I lean into it. I have no fear of getting embarrassed. I will make it so that way you're having a good time if I'm being self-deprecating. Now that could be a trauma response, who knows, but at least it's funny. But the point I'm trying to make here is that allows me to be more open with my clients, be more vulnerable with my clients. And when it comes to networking, that's a personal activity. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So if I'm there with them, I have no fear of walking up to anyone. I mean, I'm talking anybody, celebrities, I'm talking to high net profile individuals. I have zero fear. I've worked for 2 celebrities in my lifetime, and I've worked with billionaires and millionaires, and everybody poops. You know what I mean? Like, everybody puts on pants the right way. And so I think the lack of fear that I have walking up to anybody is a characteristic that I've noticed not many people have. The other thing was that when I have the privilege of being able to speak on stage, because I can read, I guess I'm learning, because I got diagnosed with ADHD about 6 months ago. I'm learning that I can recognize patterns. So if somebody is not saying something that they want to say, I don't pry, I just dig a little bit more. And then we get to the crux of it. So I'm able to read people a little bit more than I originally had thought that was possible. So both of these characteristics allow me to be better for my clients.
I reading people. It's funny. I was doing a corporate show for comedy, and there was one person that was not laughing. Everyone else was laughing, and what do? I focus on that person. I'm like, shit, this person's not laughing. And it's so weird how we do that when you're on stage, that you focus on the person. Everyone can be like, ah, and you look at one person who's just like the total prick. So, George,
or they could be very introverted, or have,
she was
something. They could be super introverted. You gotta be careful.
She had a sour face. She was. I didn't deal with it. But that's what you focus on.
Coop, did you tell her to smile? Because that's exactly the thing that women want to hear.
I would never do that on a stage, because I have no time for her. She's a peasant.
Cool.
She's a
Oh,
peasant.
good.
No, George, characteristic.
Say my sincerity and my humility. In our world, especially in the mortgage business, getting a mortgage can be the most tumultuous and difficult time that people have in their lives. I remember there was a study that was done that next to the loss of the life of a loved one, getting a mortgage was the second most traumatic thing that people go through. And what I try to do all the time is disconnect myself from my job and put myself into the shoes of my clients and my team, and see things the way that they see things. So if it means that I have to be a little bit more educational in my delivery, if it means that I have to explain things just a little bit more thorough, I'm glad to do that, because people don't buy homes every day, and when they need a mortgage, it can be a little crazy. So we just make sure that we stay humble, we stay in focus of what people need, and just react when they need us to react, and be on their side the whole way. So I think that's probably my best characteristic.
How about you, Fernando?
I would say my best characteristic is my ability to want to help others and give. I want to give back to my friends and family. I want to be able to give back to clients. I want to be able to give back to people who are in need, whether it's donating my time or for a cause. I really feel that it's really important. And honestly, it's probably one of the things that brings me the most joy is when I have the ability to help people, especially in a positive way, in any way where I can give and help them. So I feel like that's one of the things that really helps me when I'm working with people is working with them and giving.
Okay, now we're going to stay with you. What is success to you? We all have different reasons. Like me, I feel successful because I have a great wife. We own a condo. I never owned a home. My wife's beautiful. I mean, the type that people go, I'll kick my coverage. I'm used to hearing that all the time, and I get used to it. But I've met a lot of great people, and I consider that successful. Completely different than what I wanted when I was 25 and when I lived in Hollywood. What is success to you, Fernando, right now in your life? What is success?
Wow, that is such a big piece to ask. Success right now for me means that I'm providing for my family and for my clients, and we're successful in those regards. But it's really about being able to come home and spend time with the people that I love and hearing them laugh and giggle. I have 3 little kids at home, and then I have 2 older kids. So really, it's just the opportunity to be around the people that I love, and just work my ass off on a daily basis. So it's really about finding that balance, and that's when I can have success.
Okay, how about you, George? What's success?
It's funny, Steve. I actually I use the analogy all the time. I look at people. In my drive to work, I pass by 3 or 4 different funeral homes. And on occasion, I'll look and I'll see that, the line is wrapped around the building.
Oh.
And sometimes, there's only a couple cars in the parking lot. And one of the things that, we never really have an opportunity to see is, of course, our own funerals. And, I think that the true meaning of success is how many people you've affected in a positive way that are standing outside that building to pay their respects to you. That to me is, if you leave this world in a better way than, it would have been had you not been here, that to me is the true meaning of success. And, to kind of stem off of what Fernando said as well, coming home, being able to lay your head on your pillow, kiss your spouse goodnight or kiss your dog goodnight, like I do. It's important to be able to say, today was a good day and tomorrow will be even better. By feeling in your heart that you did make a difference in somebody's life, as minimum as it might be, just knowing that you're doing your best to make other people's lives better.
My funeral, there's going to be a cover charge. There's going to be a guest list, and I'm going to get cremated. And everyone's going to say, the coop is on fire. We don't need the water. Let the motherfucker burn. That's what my funeral. That's what I want at my funeral. That's exactly what I want. And that's just me. But Ash, what's success to you?
Fernando and George, both of you said it exactly right. There's nothing better than being able to impact somebody more than you thought you did, or to learn about it afterwards too. Something that you've said changed their life. I've got about 4 people that I have written down on a chalkboard, a chalkboard in my office, that if I'm having a really bad day or today's just not my day, I look at those names of people who have said, Ash, I'm going to remind you significantly how you changed my life in a certain way. And it's hard for me to even talk about those things because, again, Irish Catholic, I'm going to, always focus on the negative of how I can get better. But then to recognize that I did something without truly understanding the impact of my encouraging words or resources I gave. And that's common for me to do, because I truly do get so much joy out of helping that I impacted somebody or I saved their life in some way. And I've had 2 people that have said that to me. So if everything were to go to shit, if everything were to burn yesterday or today or in a week from now, and if everything were to implode, it doesn't matter because I did something. It doesn't matter. It's okay because I did that. And then also the freedom. Having the freedom is either working for an organization that just didn't understand how to manage, was detrimental to my mental health. I've had 23 jobs after I graduated college. I never got fired. It was mergers, acquisitions, budget cuts. So I had a very difficult time working with organizations that had a lot of underbelly and challenging managers and leadership. And with this organization I work for now, which I swore I would never work for another company, I've been given more freedom and more encouragement that has changed my life significantly because they saw value in what I can do on a daily basis. And that's all I needed was just, hey, go do you. You can do it. We'll give you some structure and just do you. And that's what success looks like.
So now we all talked about success. Now, another thing I want to talk about right now is, what is something you've done in your life? And we'll start with you, George. What is something that makes you proud? What is one event, what's something that you are very proud of that you've done in how many years you've been here? George, what's something that makes you proud?
Well, I think, on a personal level, I've been married. Actually, I dated a girl right after high school, 1993. January 2nd, we started dating each other, and we never quit on each other, and got married in May of 1999. And we're still together today. And I will tell you, I think that's probably my proudest thing is I haven't been the easiest husband to live with. Of course, every marriage has its ups and downs, as we all know. And, it is work. It is absolutely work. But this past year, my mom moved in with me because she got very, very sick. So I joke around all the time. I have a 79-year-old infant that I take care of every day. She lives in a hospital bed in our house. And, some wives would have run for the door saying, I'm not going to help you. That's your problem. But, my wife Tracy stepped up and it keeps me sane and keeps my house a place of comfort and joy every single day. So I will tell you that um, I'm most proud of her and her patience with me, and the person that she is, and her tolerance of keeping me the guy that I am every day too.
I'm telling you, people, if you're listening to this and you want to find a partner, find someone like George. Holy shit, that's great. Ashley, what's something you're very, very proud of?
I'm proud of the confidence I was able to build after being put in a very challenging, difficult situation. What I've been able to do just purely out of spite. If that's what drives you, that's what drives me. I joke about this because it is, everyone's gone through significant challenges, detrimental challenges during the pandemic, but I came out of there better. I came out of a very difficult situation a lot better. And to even say something positive like that about myself means that I've grown, because I'd be the first person to say, no, I'm good, I'm chilling, I'm good. I would definitely downplay a lot of the things that I've done. And I think that being in a space where I can be more confident in who I am, I'm very proud of the fact that it would break most people, and I did not break. I thought I could, but I am most proud of that.
You're resilient. What do we say? Ashley Owens is
Scrappy.
resilient. Scrappy. I like scrappy is a good word. How about that's a really good word. Fernando, something you're very proud of.
I'm proud of the man that I am today. Years ago, I was a mess. I just didn't have direction. I didn't have a career. I abused things and got myself in therapy, got myself in the gym, got myself an amazing wife, and have built a business. We have a home, and we've built a life together. And, I lay my head down on my pillow at night, and all the voices that used to be there are calm. And I've built the tools over the years in order to work through things when challenges arise. And that's what I'm most proud of.
That's awesome.
Can I ask a question to Fernando? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What was the moment that made you shift? Because if you're going through all the things that you've went through, it could have been a combination of a lot, but sometimes there's like that moment that's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I got to switch something here. What was that?
We don't have enough time on this
Got
call.
Got it.
We could table it for another day, but yeah,
I do a one-on-one.
I had some real depression bouts that I went through. I had to work through, and some real bottoms that I had to get out of.
But you're doing great now, and that's awesome. Now I want to start with this question with Ashley, because it's right down Ashley's alley, and it's about networking. It's about networking, and you're a networking concierge. What is something you hate about networking? What is something no, it's seriously. What is what is something? I always laugh because we all go out and we network, and what is something? And because you're a professional networker, so what is something you don't like about it?
The amateurs, the ones who are clearly there for transactional pieces. I can't stand, and again, it's not even amateurs like, hey, you're not educated yet on like how to properly introduce yourself. I get that. If you're young, if you're figuring it out, like, let me help you. I went to a networking event the other day in Dallas, right? Now I travel so much for work to conferences, so I'm used to the conference networking. Everybody there is doing it for 3 or 4 days. But the networking isn't like, oh, what do you do? How's it going? Like, none of that. It's like, hey, we're going to this event, or we're going to this happy hour, or hey, I want to hear more about your product because I'm at your booth. Like, it's all very targeted, and it's common courtesy to introduce yourself. And there's just, it's very incestuous. Like, everyone knows everybody, so it's a little bit easier to kind of get into certain groups once you build that network. But I went to it, was it a chamber? Something weird. And I went, and I was my girlfriend was with me. She's a brilliant woman. She does her own cybersecurity company. I think she's got 16 employees. Like she's good. Like she's set, right? We walk in and this lovely woman, and I say lovely because I just think she was very nervous and just has never done this before, but she bombards us for 15 minutes. And I'm pulling out every single trick I've got in the book to be like, time to leave, like time to switch. But all she did was just vomit words about what she does. And I couldn't tell you by the end of it what she did. And it got to the point, it's like after 5 minutes when you're with somebody, typically when you reach the conversation, like pivotal moment, normal human interaction would be like, we're going to shift over. We just walked in. We're going to go get something to drink. We're going to kind of walk around. She just kept going and going and going. And so what I ended up starting to do, and I do this with men as well, not just women, but I don't nod in agreement every time she's talking. And she got very intimidated. And it wasn't like I had a resting bitch face. It was very much like, I just didn't acknowledge that what she was saying was entertaining to me. And I tried asking her questions and she would ask a question and then interrupt myself and like it was very, very challenging. And then I went to another group of women that I'm sitting around with. We're having deep conversations and I've got 2 to 3 dudes hovering, waiting for their time. I'm telling you, circling like sharks. Now I've got no filter anymore. Like I am not a nice person. I am a very nice person. I am not a nice person with that anymore. Like I'm not being courteous. So I'm like, can I help you with something? And they just kind of, oh, I do this. I'm like, that's great. Is there something else we can help you with? Because we're in the middle of and it's just like the lack of common courtesy. Now I have another guy that I was with. His name is Brian. Wonderful, amazing human. He knows when to walk into an environment and make everybody feel super comfortable. It's not that it can't be done. It's the lack of awareness and education that you are going into an event just winging it. You can't go in. So that my biggest pet peeve, or what I hate about networking, is people going into an environment and winging it. Have a plan, have some kind of practice that you go into. I don't know, maybe learn to make a friend, or try to engage normally. But the goal is that if it's disrespectful, not about my time, but like how you're interacting with me is disrespectful. And you ask a question and it drives me crazy because it's like, we're adults. I'm not teaching my students how to do this. I expect that from my students, not from adults that have a business. Come on now. So that's my biggest pet peeve about networking. That's all right.
How about you, Fernando? What's your pet peeve about networking?
The me people. So if you ever saw Finding Nemo, there's a part in the movie where all these seagulls are fighting over food and they're going, me, right? So like I have like a stack of cards from like when I'm out networking and stuff like that, right? But these are acquired from people I actually know, right? And I put them in the phone and everything like that. But these people walk around at networking events. They're like, "Hi, my name's Joe, and I'm with so and so, and here's my card. And what can you do for me? Like, what do you do? Oh, I can sell you something." Like those people. What Ashley just did it. Yeah, they make me want to do that. So not a fan, right? I know we're probably going to talk more about networking, but like those people, they're not my people.
But like, where do you get to, like, how do you get to that point? Maybe I'm just going to go on a rambling,
it's narcissism. It's narcissism. That's all it is. It's complete narcissistic attitude that they sit there. They think it's the same people. It's the same people that when I used to do my coffee with Cooper, and I say everyone, I had people train because we'd have 60 people in there, and you would say do 30 seconds. Well, they're the same people that do a minute when you say 30 seconds. Okay, the problem is they don't give a shit about anybody else. And that's all it is. It's narcissistic and it's entitled crap. And they go, 30 seconds means 30 seconds. Like if you're on Jeopardy and the time runs out and it goes, boo, boo, you can't go, oh, Ken Jennings, add this. No. So that's what I'm saying. So we're gonna get see what pisses George off, because now I'm getting you all riled up for the next question.
I'm so angry. Go ahead, George.
What's what pisses you off?
Well, I love to attend networking events. I really do. And obviously it's a great way to get out, meet our community, and make good relationships. I mean, Steve, if not for a networking event, I would have never met you. And well, I can't say never because our world is a small one, but I was privileged enough to meet you, and thank you, again for the friendship and the camaraderie that we have today. I look forward to everything that you post on a daily basis because it does make me laugh. But what I try to do is I stop and I take in the room and I look around and I see the people that have been talking to the same one individual for an hour. Our time out of our houses, whether we have families or we don't, those times should be spent building your business. And for some, they get into a habit of just migrating to one person, and maybe that person wants to go and network, and they keep them like burrowed under.
Yeah.
And what I do is I feel bad for those folks. Those folks are there to build their business, and they can't get out from under the wings of somebody that is just there to converse and talk somebody's head off. So I think that in essence, it's a better idea to have people, just like a quick dating service. Like, hey, we're here, we're doing this, and we're going to move on. And you guys also nailed it with the business card giver outer. I could sell you things. I think that the relationships that you make in those first couple minutes are super, and within a few minutes, and I know whether or not we're going to be friends and we're going to get together after this or not. But always have an ability to be able to separate yourself from the event and say, that person and we can get together later and I can learn more about their business. This isn't necessarily the time and the place to just be snowed under on all their details. So
Okay.
The goal is to get the meeting, right? The goal is to just get the meeting if it's a good mesh, either personally or professionally.
Right.
Or how can I help you?
100,000%.
Who can I connect you with? Right. I mean, that's real networking.
But that's the people,
how can I help you?
That's the people you keep in touch with. And that's the people who come on this show, because you'll see no assholes ever on the show.
Right.
But we're going to talk about, as I get you guys, I got you ramped up. This is where I'm usually ramped up about LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is very important. And I reached out to you, Ashley, and I got you on the show, and I reach out to people, and LinkedIn is very important. But I always bitch about things that piss me off, because like anything there's good, there's bad. Like right now, I accepted a request from someone, and I see, and all this person does is overpost and overlike. Now, overliking is something that you can like and you can support, but when you like every goddamn thing, all of a sudden you see it and you go, this becomes transparent. And when they overpost, now it's not like people post like, actually, you'll post an event. Well, you should post an event. I'll post a show. If you have a success, you'll post it. But these people post and they comment on everything, and I'm like, why don't you get a life? Like, you're trying to build this persona on LinkedIn. People see through it. Okay. Believe me, these people, I talk to actors all the time. These people are more needy than actors. And then they always sit there and it's always like, oh, they humble brag. And then they say they always self-title themselves. They're an expert. I saw someone who said, I'm an expert podcaster. Really? You've done 10 fucking podcasts. 10 episodes. I've done close to 1,000. But Ashley, what is something that pisses you off about LinkedIn? And we're going to keep it short, but just something, because I know we can go off the deep end on this. But what's something that pisses you off? Because you're on LinkedIn and you deal with it. What is something that pisses you off about LinkedIn?
The blanket messages when I get requests like, hey, I see that we have some people in common. I think it makes sense for us to connect. It's the same fucking message on every single one. It's the same one. It's like, if you're going to reach out to me, I don't connect with people unless they have a note. Like, why are we connecting? Would love to connect. Because I have a 15-minute intro call with every single person that I have the privilege of connecting with, because you never know who you could help. You never know who you can, connect with. But that it's the blanket messages that mean nothing to me.
Okay. How about you, Fernando?
The constant barrage of really poorly written automated emails. They're drip campaigns. So you ever see the skit where someone will call the house and they're trying to solicit something, and then they'll like go back at them and mess with them? We'll do that via email. So like, my assistant or myself will like email them back and be like, hey, I really enjoyed the fact that you reached out to me, but this email drip campaign that you constructed is really poorly written. Would you like help to rewrite it? Because we do that. So I'll like flip it back on them, and then they'll be like, wait, what? And then I'm like, block, you're done. Have a great day. But really that's the biggest part.
How about you, George?
I agree with everything that Ashley and Fernando said, but I'm going to tell you what really drives me nuts is when you get a friend request or a connection request from somebody, you accept it, and no sooner you accept it, boop, there's a message right to you saying, "Hey, thanks for connecting with me. You mind if I give you a call and we hop on something? I think I have a product for you, or I have a service for you, or I want to talk to you about our company because recruiting is big in the mortgage industry and real estate industry now. We want to tell you all about our company and how great we are and what we offer our loan officers." And I'm like, I've been connected with you for 15 seconds. If I'm interested in learning more about you, because obviously I wouldn't have accepted your connection if not, I will research you. Give me a chance to breathe, So that's the part that drives me nuts.
You know what I always get after I post the show and I go, it's on YouTube. I always get 3 people going, and they're I can't even pronounce their name, and they're like, "Hey, I'm a YouTube expert," and I always sit there and I click no. And I did. But what's funny is they have like 2 mutual contacts. I'm like, are my friends that much idiots that they're accepting the solicitor? People don't get it because people want the numbers. They think, oh, I have this big following. No one gives a shit. Anyway, here's the last question of today. You all have been great. And someone comes up to you. They can recently graduate high school or college or trade school, or they're just changing careers. And they're looking for some advice. They're putting you in the position of being a mentor and giving them, what you've learned, because you've all had great roads traveled, and we've all gone through a lot in life. Fernando, what advice would you give to someone who comes up to you just asking you, how the hell do we navigate this shit?
I would tell them, be patient. It's okay to make a lot of mistakes. You're young. Invest in yourself. Read books. Surround yourself with people who are a lot smarter than you, who are successful at things that you like, so you can learn from them, and work your ass off. I feel like someone would have told me that 30 years ago. Who knows, right? I didn't have that path. I had to go find it myself. But those are the things I would tell them, right?
How about you, George?
Fernando nailed it. I got to tell you. 2 things that I would share with anybody, whether they're getting into the mortgage industry, real estate industry, or any business whatsoever, no matter what they do. If you look at our faces, we've got 2 eyes, we've got 2 ears, but we only have 1 mouth. So watch and observe, listen, and only talk less than you're watching and listening. The most ostentatious thing that we do is talk more than we have to, talk over people when we should be spending our time listening and learning from others. And the other thing is, I love reading and I love learning. Don't ever underestimate the ability to learn things from people that you might not even think you can learn anything from, because if you close yourself off from that, some valuable life lessons might just be in the cubicle right next to you that, a friend is going to share with you, and it's going to make your day a little bit brighter and better. So, always be willing to, give everybody the time and the courtesy of being somebody that they can confide in as well.
I learned how to cut a mango on YouTube. I can never figure the right way to do it. I always got like that big thing, but that's something I learned. And I looked up YouTube, and that's something that most people wouldn't sit there and go. And I said, you know what? It's mango. It sucks. So, and then when we got married, we got a mango cutter. So it blew my whole thing. Ashley, what's some advice you give to people? Because you talk to a lot of people.
And I have a lot of students that after the classes, they reach out as a mentor. So the number one thing that I teach them or one thing that I encourage them to do is remind them, because I wish somebody reminded me, is you do not have to check all the boxes. You don't have to check every single box you think you're supposed to check, whether it's you think you're supposed to graduate with this degree, you think you're like anything that you think that you're supposed to do is sometimes culturally, societally, like just all of it is telling you this one area to go into, or your family's like you're getting so many outside influences. It's having an original thought can be challenging because you're taking from other people. So you do not have to check all the boxes if you're unhappy. The other one is listen to your gut. Your gut is going to tell you what you need to do. And if your gut is wrong, then you pivot and you figure it out. We're all given enough resources and tools. Everything is figure outable. There's enough stuff on Instagram. There's enough stuff on TikTok. There's enough stuff on YouTube. You can figure it out, but be naturally curious, go with your gut, and do not check all the boxes. You don't have to check all the boxes.
That was awesome. I want to thank you all for coming on. Fernando, how can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social medias, Fernando at OnTargetMG.com. They can shoot me an email.
Okay. How about you, George?
Email, cell phone. My email is george@maxloans.com, and my cell is 856-287-0760. Always on to help anybody if I could be of service.
And how about you, Ashley?
Ashley at ashleyassist.com is my email. Ashleyassist.com is my website. And you can find me at Ashley Owens Networking Concierge TM on LinkedIn.
So people, go check these people out if you need their services. You can email me the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Also, if you want to advertise on the show, tell me. The people who watch the show and the people who are on the show are business leaders. They know what's going on. They're connected to people. So what a better way to get your advertising out to see the people that, it's a good deal. So hit me up. You can email me. Also, March 30th at Studio 67 in Medford. It's Laughs and Lyrics. I'll be doing 15 minutes of stand-up, followed by Nigel Bennett, who is in the group called The Members. They had a big 80s hit called Working Girl, and he's in a punk band called The Vibrators, and he's best friends with Adam Clayton from U2. He'll be doing a 30-minute acoustic set, and then we'll be sitting down and talking. So check that out. Don't forget to go to SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. Reach out to Joe Gangemi or Rich DeSisto. They both do a great job here. And I want to thank you all for listening. Go to YouTube, watch past shows, rate us, subscribe. I'm Steve Cooper, and I will talk to you all next week.